What if you could press the pause button on your life? That's what the pause button sounds like. And you could see your life from a 40,000 foot view and see all the little idiosyncrasies and all the little things that maybe the habits that you shouldn't be doing anymore, the things you should do more of, right? What if you could finally see it? Well, money buys you time. And I've wanted to make this video for a long time now. And what's up? This is Keith Kelfis. Hope you're doing well. If you're new to my channel, welcome, my friend. Okay, now I want to tell the story of back in 2014 was the first time I ever saved up enough money in my whole life to be able to take the entire winter off doing landscaping, seasonal business here in Michigan. And I did it very intentionally. I'm sorry, I still plowed snow, so I don't know if that's taking the winter off. But finally saving up enough money to take some time off and go deep inside and exhale, right? You can work for 4, 5, 6, 7 years straight and never take that time for yourself and really miss out on a lot of personal growth and development. What if you could like quantum leap your consciousness and your, what is this? Oh, it's dirt. What if you could like quantum leap your consciousness and just boom? Well, I think that you could do that through meditating and spending time alone and not running on the frickin' rat wheel, and not like swimming for your life without a life preserver. I'm not talking about building multiple streams of residual income and investing in real estate so you can have passive income coming in. That all can be in the future. All I mean is saving up enough money so you can take a few months off work if you want and totally do things like maybe go to the cemetery and see somebody that you love that has passed on and cry it out. Maybe go to the nursing home and see your grandma who's in a nursing home. Maybe do that diet that you've always wanted to do, where you want to do a whole body detox and do a diet. Maybe you want to get into meditation, or like maybe you want to dive into some books of philosophy. Maybe you want to spend like a whole week just going around and visiting all the people in your family you haven't seen and spent time with, right? Stuff like that, right? Maybe you want to just lay around for a couple days and watch funny movies and laugh. Maybe you want to sleep until noon for like 3 days in a row till you can't even do it anymore, right? Maybe you want to sit in a coffee shop and just sip coffee and chat with some friends. But if you don't have the money, you can't do that, right? So this is why starting a small business and getting it to a profitable point changed my life in 2014. So I spent my whole life working always 2, 3 jobs and only making enough money to make the bills. And in the winter, I was scrambling and broke. The fear and anxiety and the survival mode state, it keeps you in fight or flight mode where the amygdala is always triggered. You're in a response, you've heard me talk about this before, where you're constantly in fight or flight mode. You can't access deeper levels of thought. You can't access deep levels of inspiration and creativity when you're always in survival mode. So, 2013 going into 2014, I think I saved up like $6,000 or something. And we lived in a little tiny 1-bedroom apartment. You can get apartments cheap here in Michigan. And back in the day, it was like $575 a month. And so I saved up enough money for the winter, and I took the winter off. I slept in. I read books. I stayed up all night for many, many, many nights all by myself, staring out the window. And this beautiful sense of peace came over me, and I started to cry. And then I cried harder. And this sense of deep, deep peace came into my life that I had been starving for a long time. In the winter of 2014, I grew up a lot. I really grew up a lot because I had a lot of time to reflect on my life, reflect on how my mom died, and how a lot of friends that I cared about had passed, and how it was very healing for me. And you can't do that without money, right? And that's not even a lot of money, right? it is if you work a dead-end job. So what a motivating reason to raise your prices, right? If you're already in small business, to put a couple systems in place so you can make a little bit more money and schedule some time off if you have to take a hiatus. What a great reason to start your own thing and become your own boss and make a little bit more money. There's all these reasons, but for one thing, that was a hidden benefit that I had never even considered. And it was very healing. So I wanted to make this video to say to you, what if you need that? What if you require that, right? What if you've been working so hard for so long, so many hours, that you don't even know what it's like to take time for yourself to reflect? And I'll never forget the winter of 2014. And then the winter of 2015 was even better. I saved up for the whole winter again. We still lived in that little apartment. And I rented out a tiny little office, right? Because I couldn't get anything done at home with my wife and the dogs barking and my wife vacuuming, and I was freaking out, right? So I found this little office. I talked them down to $250 a month. And I went there a lot. And sometimes I would sit in that office for 4 hours before I would start to do anything. I would just sit there in anxiety, waiting for the anxiety to go down. Then something would trigger and it would go back up. Then it would work, then something would trigger it, then it would go down. And there's constantly something triggering it, keeping you in this place of like, oh my God, what if this horrible thing happens? What if I'm self-deceiving, I'm not gonna make it? What if there's a hole in the boat and we're sinking? Survival mode. There's this amazing, these books I listened to by Dr. David R. Hawkins called Power versus Force, Letting Go. And it talks about calibration and states of consciousness. When you can let go of fear, and you can let go of that survival mode, which small business really does not help, when you can let go of that, and you can totally relax and exhale, and rejuvenate, and not be in fear, once fear goes down, it's like letting go of an anchor, an anvil that's holding you back. When you let go of that thing, you just pop up and start experiencing these euphoric, elated, beautiful states of higher vibration and consciousness that you might not have ever felt since you were a kid. Since you were playing and riding your bike and climbing trees and doing all that stuff when you were a kid. And to experience that again, Albert Einstein said imagination is more important than intelligence. And I know you've heard stuff like that before. When you can get into that place of pure inspiration and enthusiasm and imagination, beautiful things can happen in your life. You just start connecting all these dots, and your subconscious reshuffles the deck. And then you can really catapult in your life. So that's what I want to say. Think about finding a way that you can schedule a few weeks off this winter, or how can you take time for yourself? Do you require this? I want to know in the comments below. And how can you pull out, if your chest is like a switchboard with wires and you're in this reactive state, how can you pull out all of these wires and maybe go out in the woods with your pop and go hunting or something, or go fishing for like 3 days straight? How can you get that time to really, really reflect on your life, so therefore you can see what's most important and where your core values lie? And I think from that place, and I know from that place, all the other decisions you make are much more aligned with your core purpose.